work with colleges and universities all across the state, both public and private, to bring together a conversation with business and industry need, to really start talking about what are the regional needs in the workforce and what are the technology skill sets that you're looking for, and how do we integrate that into our colleges and universities to make sure that the education is aligned, the curriculum is aligned, to make sure we're meeting those needs. And we've had some good conversations, we've had some good luck, but I learned that really in this opening statement, really just talk about how committed the Chancellor Gardner, and Governor DeWine is in this effort. Just with the recent budget that was just passed, the Choose Ohio First scholarship dollars that go particularly into STEM-related fields went from $15 million a year to $40 million over the biennium. That's a huge commitment to making sure that students are supported and making sure that they are getting those jobs that are needed out there, and making sure we're making those connections. We just had a new, what we call a mini project with just computer science programs. So $28 million is going to be associated with scholarships for students who are enrolled in certificates and or degrees in computer science. So you look at it from the standpoint of huge commitment in making sure our students are getting that education that's needed to meet the business and industry need. Another commitment statement is from a program called Tech Cred. Soon to be announced, it's not out yet, but this is a way for business and industry, on the other hand, to continue to upskill their incumbent workers, their current employee base, in technology, and making sure we're moving those skill sets forward. So not only does that benefit the company overall economically, but it also has an individual benefit for those workers at those locations to continue to advance their skills. And then lastly, something that's unprecedented in this time frame, the budget was what you call general revenue funding, and capital funding happens every other, the second 2 years from now. But because of the fact that we've had such success, we got another $8 million in capital equipment funding for colleges and universities to work together in a regional fashion needs to help you as individuals, you as students, be able to continue to advance your skills so you truly are meeting the needs of business and industry. Technology is here, it's fast moving, we've got to embrace it. We have to make sure that we continue to move our educational programs to meet those needs. Thank you.
So my name is Milind Paranjape, the last name, so now it's spelled very differently than how I say it, how I pronounce it. It's Paranjape, that's how I say it. So I work for JobsOhio, which is State of Ohio's private non-profit economic development organization. And our mission is simple actually, grow the economy of State of Ohio by doing two things primarily. We provide services to our client businesses, but services like finding a site for them, offering them talent services, which includes talent marketing and attraction, if you will, and understanding their needs, infrastructure needs or regulatory approvals, and work with the partners from state to local level to fulfill those needs. The second thing we do is we offer incentives to offset some of the cost of the growth they want to create here in the state of Ohio. So those are the two simple things we do at JobsOhio. As far as the check, we look at 9 industries from JobsOhio. IT happens to be one of that focus industry, and that's what I do at JobsOhio, attracting and growing the tech jobs in Ohio by bringing those companies here. With regards to and thank you for the talk, Dr. Staley and Dr. Vedantham. It was nice to hear from you and kind of see where you are coming from point of view wise. I think I like the third scenario, by the way, working better. That I'm in that camp in a way. Don't know if this is going to happen, but that will be the camp I want to be in. For a simple thing, I believe, and this is opinion, not a fact necessarily, this is one person's opinion, if you will, that we should be more concerned about our ability to give up on our brain to use it for some good, useful thing to do, and rather than worrying about humans being killed by machines or machines taking over. So we need to be more concerned about our ability to use our brain. That's the campaign, which means partner with machines. Thank you.
Okay, I've already spoken enough, but to reintroduce myself. So the division I am in, data center group in Intel, we do chip designs that go into support the mobile cell towers. That's the main business that we are in. Including this area, as well as everything else, our overall structure is in the data center group of Intel. Within data center group, we are in the mobile cell tower sort of business. AI is coming in, so it's a big push for Intel. Intel views it as a good thing because they're going to hopefully sell a lot more chips and it's good for the industry. But within Intel, there is always a good push to think in terms of ethics and what should be done, even though you can simply say sell more chips and that's where we end and you guys do whatever you want. Instead of that, there is constant discussion. So this is one of the talks I gave inside Intel to begin with, and then made it as part of the ACM lecture series. So it's the right time to start thinking about it because the technology is becoming much more easily accessible and available all over the world. Anywhere you are with a simple computer, you can get this software and get that running. But of course, the kind of extreme scenarios that we are talking about, in my opinion, I think they are still some time away. It's not happening next year, it's not happening in 5 years, 10 years, in 20 years or something, but it's still not too far away, right? So we need to start thinking about it. I did go into JobsOhio website, looked at various reports to see what kind of JobsOhio is predicting, how the trend is going to be, etc. And that kind of resonated with some of my thinking. One of the highest growth rate jobs are in the healthcare and home health provisioning, things of that nature, right? So initially, may not look like a very high-end paying job, but the point there is, it is the kind of job that involves actual time that is the product, right? It's not something you can just improve efficiency somehow and then keep doing it in parallel and then bring the cost down. Those are the kind of jobs that would require the actual human being time. So the human resiliency is phenomenal. Right? So you're not going to just go away into shadows in any time soon. So we need to keep looking at where we can really add value, where the time and what David was talking about, the special skills that human beings come in that still cannot be easily automated. How do we make those items more valuable so that we can thrive in this scenario while simultaneously making sure that all the fruits of these developments that are coming in becomes much more widely available to people rather than just helping improve increase income inequality alone.
So the only thing that I'll add or expand upon, excuse me, is as I said, I think scenario 3 is as of today, as of September 21st, I think the most plausible scenario. As part of my introduction, Cameron was mentioning, for instance, the book I just wrote called Alternative Universities. I've been thinking a lot about enterprise, innovation, and higher education. So the book is 10 different models for, if my premise is, if you were starting a university today, what would it look like? How would you do it? And one of those universities I call Interface University, and it's based on essentially the scenario in scenario 3, that at that university you would learn to interface, you would learn to partner with, work with artificial intelligence, not use technology. It's not, here's a device in your freshman year, use it to your calculus homework. It really is learning how to think together with machines, to think together with algorithms. And I wrote that in part, because I'm interested, as I said, in enterprise innovation in higher education, but also because I've yet to encounter the university that's in any way set up for that sort of future. There are some people that are talking about that sort of future, but there's no higher education institution in the country that started thinking along these terms. But I think that's in the same way that land-grant universities were invented in the mid-19th century, the way that we invented community colleges. I think that we're going to be inventing institutes that will educate for this interface between humans and artificial intelligence. And I'm happy to expand on that, but we have other questions to wrestle with.
Great, and I'm going to, a couple statements, right, and those are being used to, in some cases, help those folks determine, whether someone is a threat to the United States or not, right? And so, in terms of the AI, and we haven't established what that is, that's really my first question to you all. We're letting the AI be involved right now in immigration adjustments. I think they're beyond just decisions. I think they're judgments based off of what's happening in people's lives. They're starting to bring that into police profiling for situations that the police departments are starting to use some of these AI technologies in crime prevention. And this goes a little bit beyond the decision-making point. So a couple of things I'm going to throw at you all right off the bat. I want to ask about the political dimension of this artificial intelligence and its uses and its applications, and the impact that politics, global politics, national, regional, local politics may have as a meta effect, right? Before we get to the nice ways that it's going to be used, how effective it's going to be, I'm starting to observe that it hits the political spectrum long before it hits any of those things. Politics, who's in office, what their value systems are, that has a tendency of having some kind of impact. So there'll be a little bit of that kind of dimension that I'll be asking y'all. But for the audience, we've mentioned it a couple of times. We said the word artificial intelligence, right? So I'm just curious. What would the panel have, each of you guys, as just a short definition? When we say artificial intelligence, what do we mean? What do you guys mean? Short answer.
Do you want us to first define intelligence? Because if you're going to define AI, you have to define intelligence first.
Yeah. Yes. Just something that the audience can understand. I'll give you some equations and some algorithms and those kinds of things, and with a whole bunch of things.
Well, and one could argue we could spend the rest of the afternoon doing that because intelligence is such a slippery concept. I could proffer a quick definition that would be the ability to improvise and to improvise and solve problems.
Okay, so artificial intelligence would be
Yes.
the ability to do that by computers.
Yeah, because the reason we assign artificial to it is that we're talking about non-human intelligence, which is why AI doesn't always work. That's why I sometimes like to say autonomous intelligence. But I'm happy to concede to another definition. So,
Dr. Rice, this is just we're doing layman definitions here. Nothing. When you hear it, what do you think of?
Well, when I heard Staley say autonomous intelligence, I immediately go to, and only because I'm connected with it, is the JobsOhio initiative with the autonomous vehicles, and how I've watched it over the last couple of years grow in this idea standpoint to actual vehicles going down I-80 with no driver in the seat. So I'm glad that they have this intelligence, the autonomous artificial intelligence, but I'm sure hoping that there's a human behind it making some key decisions. So I will go with that.
Okay, so the autonomous aspect of it
Yes.
is a big deal. Yeah.
I would focus on the word artificial. So it has to be something non-human. Right? So if human beings are doing, then okay, it's hard to call that as artificial. So it's basically technologies that are developed to analyze available data and then make some decisions to get you to the next point, whatever it may be. Maybe just a car driving, or maybe getting to how to run a war, whether to give a loan or not, whatever decision that you want to make. To move to that point using systems in this narrow definition, more of computers and IT technology that can take you to that point. So doing something without human beings, analyzing data and getting you to the decision points using IT type systems.
If I do add anything, I would say ability to think, learn, and do it again towards some problem, towards something to change. And artificial, I think it's a complex word we started saying because the intelligence is living on a machine now instead of a human brain. But if things will go this way, they will, and the machines, we don't call them intelligent in the sense like we call humans today, but that will be the case tomorrow. And intelligence probably will live in things in other forms besides humans.
Okay, great. And so, Dr. Staley mentioned the phrase cognitive labor. And so, if I throw out this, at one point we've had the technology replace or emulate or duplicate our manual labor. Okay, how much, our speed, our strength, our physicality, our dexterity, our, visual acuity, all the things that being able to hear things, sort of physical aspects of human beings, the technology has been replacing. But now we're getting into technology replacing the mental aspects of human beings, decision-making processes, which it seems to be a big part of it. We don't like the idea of necessary value judgments, but I think we're already there with some value judgments. Not because we should be there, but because people are just misusing the technology that's in place already. When we start getting to mental type of capabilities, my real first question to all of you, is there any job, if you talk about the physical aspects of humans and then you start getting into the mental capabilities of humans, are there any jobs that are safe from being taken over by artificial intelligence or autonomous systems, autonomous software, autonomous applications? Is there anything safe?
Yes, I think so. So I'm sorry, you want to make sure?
I was just first thing that comes to mind, and I heard you talk about it earlier too, that healthcare is one area that I believe that humans are very safe in having a fruitful lifetime kind of career in this world because of the feelings, the intuitive things that come out of healthcare analysis and decision making. But I think that there are many jobs that are safe, that are not going to be taken over by robots or AI type of machine,
When you say healthcare, could you go drill down a little bit more into that? Like, for instance, what jobs in healthcare might be safe?
Well, I have a history of being a therapist, and a mental health and physical therapist. Before I got into business, I was in healthcare.
Yes.
So maybe it's a little near and dear to my heart.
Right.
So there are things that I would assist a patient with that a machine may not have been able to do, like be empathetic to listen to how they're feeling today about their new disability.
Can't Siri do that right now?
Well, I'll give you an example.
Didn't the Eliza?
So about 20 years ago, I was